Hadīth 1. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when an adulterer commits illegal sexual intercourse, then he is not a believer at the time he is doing it, and when somebody drinks an alcoholic drink, then he is not a believer at the time of drinking, and when a thief steals, he is not a believer at the time when he is stealing, and when a robber robs and the people look at him, then he is not a believer at the time of doing it. Abu Hurairah in another narration, narrated the same from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with the exclusion of robbery. Hadīth 2. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, beat a drunk with palm leaf stalks and shoes. And Abu Bakr gave, such a sinner, 40 lashes. Hadīth 3. Narrated Uqbah bin al-Harith, An-Nu'man or the son of An-Nu'man was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a charge of drunkenness. So the Prophet ordered all the men present in the house to beat him. So all of them beat him, and I was also one of them who beat him with shoes. Hadīth 4. Narrated Uqbah bin al-Harith, An-Nu'man or the son of An-Nu'man was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a state of intoxication. The Prophet felt it hard, was angry, and ordered all those who were present in the house to beat him. And they beat him, using palm leaf stalks and shoes, and I was among those who beat him. Hadīth 5. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, lashed a drunk with palm leaf stalks and shoes. And Abu Bakr gave a drunk 40 lashes. Hadīth 6. Narrated Abu Salama, Abu Hurairah said, a man who drank wine was brought to the Prophet. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, beat him. Abu Hurairah added, so some of us beat him with our hands, and some with their shoes, and some with their garments, by twisting it, like a lash, and then when we finished, someone said to him, may Allah disgrace you. On that, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do not say so, for you are helping Satan to overpower him. Hadīth 7. Narrated Ali bin Abi Talib, I would not feel sorry for one who dies because of receiving a legal punishment, except the drunk, for if he should die, when being punished, I would give blood money to his family, because no fixed punishment has been ordered by Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, for the drunk. Hadīth 8. Narrated Sa'ib bin Yazid, we used to strike the drunks with our hands, shoes, clothes, by twisting it into the shape of lashes, during the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Abu Bakr and the early part of Umar's caliphate. But during the last period of Umar's caliphate, he used to give the drunk 40 lashes, and when drunks became mischievous and disobedient, he used to scourge them 80 lashes. Hadīth 9. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab, during the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, there was a man called Abdullāh whose nickname was Donkey, and he used to make Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, laugh. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, lashed him because of drinking alcohol. And one day he was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on the same charge and was lashed. On that, a man among the people said, O Allah, curse him. How frequently he has been brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on such a charge. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do not curse him, for by Allah I know for he loves Allah and his apostle. Hadīth 10. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a drunk was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and he ordered him to be beaten, lashed. Some of us beat him with our hands, and some with their shoes, and some with their garments, twisted in the form of a lash. When that drunk had left, a man said, what is wrong with him? May Allah disgrace him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do not help Satan against your Muslim brother. Hadīth 11. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a person, an adulterer commits illegal sexual intercourse, then he is not a believer at the time he is doing it, and when somebody steals, then he is not a believer at the time he is stealing. Hadith 12. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah curses a man who steals an egg and gets his hand cut off, or steals a rope and gets his hands cut off. Al-Amash said, people used to interpret the baidah as an iron helmet, and they used to think that the rope may cost a few dirhams. Hadith 13. Narrated Ubadah bin As-Samit, we were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a gathering, and he said, swear allegiance to me that you will not worship anything besides Allah, will not steal, and will not commit illegal sexual intercourse. And then, the Prophet recited the whole verse, that is, Surah 60, Ayah 12. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, and whoever among you fulfills his pledge, his reward is with Allah, and whoever commits something of such sins and receives the legal punishment for it, that will be considered as the expiation for that sin, and whoever commits something of such sins and Allah screens him, it is up to Allah whether to excuse or punish him. Hadith 14. Narrated Abdullāh, Allah's Apostle said in Hajjat al-Wada, which month, of the year, do you think is most sacred? The people said, this current month of ours, the month of Dhul Hijjah. He said, which town, country, do you think is the most sacred? They said, this city of ours, Makkah. He said, which day do you think is the most sacred? The people said, this day of ours. He then said, Allah, the Blessed, the Supreme, has made your blood, your property and your honor as sacred as this day of yours, in this town of yours, in this month of yours, and such protection cannot be slighted, except rightfully. He then said thrice, have I conveyed Allah's message to you? The people answered him each time saying, yes. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, may Allah be merciful to you, or, woe on you. Do not revert to disbelief after me by cutting the necks of each other. Hadith 15. Narrated Aisha, whenever the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was given an option between two things, he used to select the easier of the two as long as it was not sinful, but if it was sinful, he would remain far from it. By Allah, he never took revenge for himself concerning any matter that was presented to him, but when Allah's limits were transgressed, he would take revenge for Allah's sake. Hadith 16. Narrated Aisha, Usama approached the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on behalf of a woman, who had committed theft. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the people before you were destroyed because they used to inflict the legal punishments on the poor and forgive the rich. By him in whose hand my soul is. If Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did that is, stole, I would cut off her hand. Hadith 17. Narrated Aisha, the Quraysh people became very worried about the Makhzumiyya lady who had committed theft. They said, nobody can speak, in favor of the lady, to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and nobody dares do that, except Usama who is the favorite of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. When Usama spoke to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about that matter, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, do you intercede, with me, to violate one of the legal punishments of Allah? Then he got up and addressed the people, saying, O people! The nations before you went astray because if a noble person committed theft, they used to leave him, but if a weak person among them committed theft, they used to inflict the legal punishment on him. By Allah, if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad committed theft, Muhammad will cut off her hand. Hadith 18. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hand should be cut off for stealing something that is worth 1/4 of a dinar or more. Hadith 19. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hand of a thief should be cut off for stealing 1/4 of a dinar. Hadith 20. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The hand should be cut off for stealing a quarter of a dinar." Hadith 21. Narrated Aisha, the hand of a thief was not cut off during the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, except for stealing something equal to a shield in value. A similar hadith is narrated from Aisha through another chain. Hadith 22. Narrated Aisha, a thief's hand was not cut off for stealing something cheaper than a hajafah or a turs, two kinds of shields, each of which was worth a respectable price. Hadith 23. Narrated Aisha, a thief's hand was not cut off for stealing something worth less than the price of a shield, whether a turs or hajafah, two kinds of shields, each of which was worth a respectable price. Hadith 24. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hand of a thief for stealing a shield that was worth 3 dirhams. Hadith 25. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hand of a thief for stealing a shield that was worth 3 dirhams. Hadith 26. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hand of a thief for stealing a shield that was worth 3 dirhams. Hadith 27. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hand of a thief for stealing a shield that was worth 3 dirhams. Hadith 28. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, Allah curses the thief who steals an egg, or a helmet, for which his hand is to be cut off, or steals a rope for which his hand is to be cut off. Hadith 29. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hand of a lady, and that lady used to come to me, and I used to convey her message to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and she repented, and her repentance was sincere. Hadith 30. Narrated Ubadah bin As-Samit, I gave the pledge of allegiance to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, with a group of people, and he said, I take your pledge that you will not worship anything besides Allah, will not steal, will not commit infanticide, will not slander others by forging false statements and spreading it, and will not disobey me in anything good. And whoever among you fulfills all these obligations of the pledge, his reward is with Allah. And whoever commits any of the above crimes and receives his legal punishment in this world, that will be his expiation and purification. But if Allah screens his sin, it will be up to Allah, who will either punish or forgive him according to his wish. Abu Abdullah said, if a thief repents after his hand has been cut off, then his witness will be accepted. Similarly, if any person upon whom any legal punishment has been inflicted repents, his witness will be accepted. Hadith 31. Narrated Anas, some people from the tribe of Ukul came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and embraced Islam. The climate of Medina did not suit them, so the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered them to go to the herd of milch, camels of charity, and to drink their milk and urine as a medicine. They did so, and after they had recovered from their ailment, became healthy, they turned renegades, reverted from Islam, and killed the shepherd of the camels and took the camels away. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent some people in their pursuit, and so they were caught and brought, and the Prophet ordered that their hands and legs should be cut off and that their eyes should be branded with heated pieces of iron, and that their cut hands and legs should not be cauterized, till they die. Hadith 32. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, cut off the hands and feet of the men belonging to the tribe of Uraina and did not cauterize their bleeding limbs, till they died. Hadith 33. Narrated Anas, a group of people from Ukul tribe came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and they were living with the people of As-Suffah, but they became ill as the climate of Medina did not suit them, so they said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, provide us with milk. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I see no other way for you than to use the camels of Allah's Apostle. So they went and drank the milk and urine of the camels, as medicine, and became healthy and fat. Then they killed the shepherd and took the camels away. When a help-seeker came to Allah's apostle, he sent some men in their pursuit, and they were captured and brought before midday. The Prophet ordered for some iron pieces to be made red hot, and their eyes were branded with them and their hands and feet were cut off and were not cauterized. Then they were put at a place called Al-Hurud, and when they asked for water to drink they were not given till they died. Abu Kilabah said, those people committed theft and murder and fought against Allah and His Apostle. Hadīth 34. Narrated Anas bin Malik, a group of people from Uql, or Uraina, tribe, but I think he said that they were from Uql, came to Medina and, they became ill, so, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered them to go to the herd of milch, she-camels and told them to go out and drink the camel's urine and milk, as a medicine. So they went and drank it, and when they became healthy, they killed the shepherd and drove away the camels. This news reached the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, early in the morning, so he sent some men in their pursuit and they were captured and brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, before midday. He ordered to cut off their hands and legs and their eyes to be branded with heated iron pieces and they were thrown at Al-Hurud, and when they asked for water to drink, they were not given water. Abu Kilabah said, those were the people who committed theft and murder and reverted to disbelief after being believers, Muslims, and fought against Allah and His Apostle. Hadīth 35. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, 7 people will be shaded by Allah by His shade on the day of resurrection when there will be no shade except His shade. They will be, a just ruler, a young man who has been brought up in the worship of Allah, a man who remembers Allah in seclusion and his eyes are then flooded with tears, a man whose heart is attached to mosques, offers his compulsory congregational prayers in the mosque, 2 men who love each other for Allah's sake, a man who is called by a charming lady of noble birth to commit illegal sexual intercourse with her, and he says, I am afraid of Allah, and, finally, a man who gives in charity so secretly that his left hand does not know what his right hand has given. Hadīth 36. Narrated Sahal bin Sa'd, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever guarantees me, the chastity of, what is between his legs, that is, his private parts, and what is between his jaws, that is, his tongue, I guarantee him paradise. Hadīth 37. Narrated Anas, I will narrate to you a narration which nobody will narrate to you after me. I heard that from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, the hour will not be established, or said, from among the portents of the hour is that the religious knowledge will be taken away, by the death of religious scholars, and general ignorance, of religion, will appear, and the drinking of alcoholic drinks will be very common, and open illegal sexual intercourse will prevail, and men will decrease in number while women will increase, so much so that for 50 women, there will only be 1 man to look after them. Hadīth 38. Narrated Ikrimah from Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, when a slave, of Allah, commits illegal sexual intercourse, he is not a believer at the time of committing it, and if he steals, he is not a believer at the time of stealing, and if he drinks an alcoholic drink, then he is not a believer at the time of drinking it, and he is not a believer when he commits a murder. Ikrimah said, I asked Ibn Abbas, how is faith taken away from him? He said, like this, by clasping his hands and then separating them, and added, but if he repents, faith returns to him like this, by clasping his hands again. Hadīth 39. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the one who commits an illegal sexual intercourse is not a believer at the time of committing illegal sexual intercourse, and a thief is not a believer at the time of committing theft, and a drinker of alcoholic drink is not a believer at the time of drinking. Yet, the gate of repentance is open thereafter. Hadīth 40. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. which is the biggest sin? He said, to set up rivals to Allah by worshipping others, though He alone has created you. I asked, what is next? He said, to kill your child lest it should share your food. I asked, what is next? He said, to commit illegal sexual intercourse with the wife of your neighbor. Hadīth 41. Narrated Ash-Shu'abi, from Ali when the latter stoned a lady to death on a Friday, Ali said, I have stoned her according to the tradition of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadīth 42. Narrated Ash-Shaybani, I asked Abdullāh bin Abi Awfa, did Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, carry out the Rajm penalty, that is, stoning to death? He said, yes. I said, before the revelation of Surah An-Nur or after it? He replied, I don't know. Hadīth 43. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh al-Ansari, a man from the tribe of Bani Aslam came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and informed him that he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and bore witness 4 times against himself. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered him to be stoned to death as he was a married person. Hadīth 44. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a man came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was in the mosque, and he called him, saying, O Allah's Apostle! I have committed illegal sexual intercourse. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, turned his face to the other side, but that man repeated his statement 4 times, and after he bore witness against himself 4 times, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, called him, saying, Are you mad? The man said, No. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Are you married? The man said, Yes. Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Take him away and stone him to death. Jabir bin Abdullāh said, I was among the ones who participated in stoning him and we stoned him at the Musalla. When the stones troubled him, he fled, but we overtook him at Al-Hara and stoned him to death. Hadīth 45. Narrated Aisha, Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas and Abdu bin Zamah quarreled with each other, regarding a child. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The boy is for you, O Abdu bin Zamah, for the boy is for the owner of the bed. O Sauda! Screen yourself from the boy. The sub-narrator, Al-Layth added, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, and the stone is for the person who commits an illegal sexual intercourse. Hadīth 46. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The boy is for the owner of the bed and the stone is for the person who commits illegal sexual intercourse. Hadīth 47. Narrated Ibn Umar, a Jew and a Jewess were brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, on a charge of committing an illegal sexual intercourse. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked them, What is the legal punishment for this sin in your book, Torah? They replied, Our priests have innovated the punishment of blackening the faces with charcoal and tajbiyah. Abdullāh bin Salam said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, tell them to bring the Torah. The Torah was brought, and then one of the Jews put his hand over the divine verse of the Rajm, stoning to death, and started reading what preceded and what followed it. On that, Ibn Salam said to the Jew, Lift up your hand. Behold! The divine verse of the Rajm was under his hand. So Allah's Apostle ordered that the 2 sinners be stoned to death, and so they were stoned. Ibn Umar added, So both of them were stoned at the Balat, and I saw the Jew sheltering the Jewess. Hadīth 48. Narrated Jabir, a man from the tribe of Aslam came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and confessed that he had committed an illegal sexual intercourse. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, turned his face away from him till the man bore witness against himself 4 times. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, Are you mad? He said, No. He said, "Are you married?" He said, "Yes." Then the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that he be stoned to death, and he was stoned to death at the Musalla. When the stones troubled him, he fled, but he was caught and was stoned till he died. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, spoke well of him and offered his funeral prayer.